All right, welcome football fans. Petman Matt Morrow, welcome to week 2 of Football Focus Weekly in the season. Had a big week in week 1. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. We'll start the show tonight with Petman's Players. It's a segment that I've done in different iterations throughout the years. We're going to highlight some of the best players in week 1. Then we'll talk about week 1. We'll recap it and we'll give you our thoughts on a list of topics. We'll get into the new Dirty Dozen, which caused a lot of controversy last week. And I'm trying to expect the same thing again this week. We'll debut our county rankings, which we rank the top teams in the metro area in surrounding counties. We'll debut the CMS Best to Last, something we've done for the past few years, ranking the best teams not the best, all the teams in the CMS from the best to the last. Then we'll get into our week 2 game previews, week 2 predictions, and we'll finish with the ever-loving slime time. Chat administrator is here while he's at work. Good gracious. Well, chat administrator, take a couple minutes to focus on your job and come back. We're going to roll the intro, and then we'll be right back. This is Football Focus Weekly with CFI, Charlotte Football Insiders. All right, welcome back, everyone. And already, we got some comments I got to address before we get started here. Let's see. Chat administrator, we led off with him. Huff talking a big talk. There's been some things that have been said and posted on social media. I think it's trolling myself, but, we'll talk about that game here in a little bit. Reggie Lee, what's up, Petman and the gang? I know Kenneth will appreciate that. Usually people just say hey to me, and he doesn't like that very much. Patrick C., this theme song is bumping. It is up there with the Power intro song. Oh, man. Well, we had this song produced by our buddy Solo Steez for season 3, and we kept it for season 4, and I like it. I like it, man. And then Corleone, I see your comment. I can't post it, but you know what? This is Football Focus Weekly. We're talking high school football. We are not trying to be like Fox Sports or ESPN. So if you're on Facebook, you can see what he said. Thank you for watching them. Anyway. All right. That being said, I'm going to bring on who's here with us. We'll have more people join us throughout the night. The Engine is here with us.
What's up, Pat?
What's up? I think Corleone is saying you're like Skip Bayless in that comment there. So
that was directed towards us?
Yeah.
Nah, there ain't no way, man.
All right, and then I guess this would be our Stephen A. Big
Steve,
Shelby.
Stephen A. What's up, fellas?
What's up,
What's
Coach?
up, man? All right. Well, let's get started. I'll put you guys backstage because we're going to do Pet Man's players, and I'm going to run through this as fast as I possibly can. We got a lot to talk about tonight. So, let's move on. We had a lot of guys do well in week one, and we're going to talk about as many of them as we possibly can right here in Pet Man's players, shining the spotlight on as many kids as we possibly can to get them the recognition and the love that they truly deserve. So, that being said, we're going to start with J.M. Robinson. We were there, me and producer were there last Friday night when they played Independence. And, of course, David Hobbs, the big recruit, about 6'4" kid, 250 pounds, being recruited by Alabama, Georgia, just about every big school you could think of. He had 2 touchdowns in their loss. But he was, physically impressive. His first touchdown, he caught a ball over the middle and took it for about 65 yards and just ran, through the Patriot defense. He had a big catch down the sideline for a big play that helped set up his second touchdown out of the Wildcat, which is about a left tackle run of about 15 yards. He had a 2-point conversion where he did the head tap on the Independence DB. And I mean, he was impressive. He was more impressive on offense, to most of us there than on defense. But still, a physically imposing player that is really being recruited by just about anyone you can think of. On the flip side, Independence, the winning team, they won 33-15. Sophomore quarterback Justin Little, 3 touchdown passes, 224 yards passing, and 90 yards rushing. In that victory. And for a sophomore, he was very poised. You can see, the work that's being done by Independence head coach DJ McFadden with the young man. He's very talented, and he's gonna be special. And DJ said after the game he feels like a lot of people don't know about him. He's under the radar, but if he keeps playing like that, he's not gonna be under the radar for very long for sure. 2 of those TD passes went to wide receiver Jalen Springs, wears number 6, good sized kid, 6'2". Both of them jump balls in red zone situations. Went up high, pointed the ball well. Interviewed him after the game. He only has real interest from one school right now, which was a little surprising to me. But I think as he continues to do well and puts his highlights out there, more schools will come and be interested. He is a senior this year. Jumping over to Community School of Davidson, quarterback A.J. Sirianni, 300. He was officially credited with 299 yards, but I told him we'll give you 300. So we'll say 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and a big victory over Bessemer City to start their season. They've got a lot of returning players up at Community School of Davidson. Looks like they're going to have a really good year once again. Drawn, one of our favorites, quarterback Elijah Tillery. Big 6'6" kid that has been to a lot of our camps. 217 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 80 rushing yards and a touchdown in their victory. I think he has a lot of college interest. I think colleges, you need to jump on him, man, before it gets going too far and you lose out on a shot. Malachi Marshall, South Point quarterback, big victory over number 1 Gaffney in South Carolina. He played really well. 21-32, 335 yards and 2 touchdowns in that victory. That whole South Point team played really well, beating Gaffney. I think it was 47-26 was the final. Huge win for South Point. Gaffney was number 1 in 5A. South Point is 4A. Obviously defending 4A state champions. Crest, wide receiver Javarius Green heard a lot of good things about these young men all summer long. It translates in the first game, 3 touchdown catches and 139 yards receiving in their victory over Freedom. Crest, new spread offense with Coach Jim and those guys getting it done in week 1. Up in Mount Pleasant, athlete Keegan Moose, 125 total yards of offense and 2 touchdowns in a 35-14 victory over Central Bears. One of the go-to guys on that Tiger team. And Mount Pleasant is 1-0 going into Another big one this week. Chambers had a big win. Had a number of guys play really well. We're going to highlight quarterback Bubba Camp, over 350 total yards of offense and 2 touchdowns in that victory. A lot of great escapability in that pocket. He was under pressure and he made things happen when he got outside the pocket, make some big throws and some big runs. I mean, I was 3rd and 22 I saw. They sent their receivers vertical. He had a good rush on him, and he broke the pocket, and there was nobody there, and he literally ran like 40 yards before he was even touched. So, I mean, just an incredible athlete, an incredible athletic ability. And Chambers, looks like they're going to be a big-time contender once again in the state. Let's see. I saw some comments, but nothing to really share. Okay, we'll keep going on the next one. All right. Well, I was looking at Morrisville, and there was a couple guys that really stood out to me. But I liked when I looked at the film, Jamari Farmer. We talk a lot about Caleb Edstrom at linebacker, but Jamari Farmer at linebacker had 10 tackles and 2 sacks in their big victory over Davie County. And I know the chat administrator, was watching. He may throw some things up about him. Northwest Cabarrus had a big win over West Cabarrus. Ray J. Waters, their running back, 162 yards and 2 touchdowns in that victory. Good job, Northwest Cabarrus. We're going to see them this week. They're in the Friday Night Spotlight with Sumter Productions. And we'll talk about that game in a little bit. Cannon going to get a big victory on the road up in Raleigh. Running back Will Jones. They had a lot of guys play well in that game. I chose one. I chose Will Jones, 120 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns in that victory, getting it done every way possible. Our boy Turbo, Northwestern, I tell you. When we saw this score on the sideline at Independence, and we were all like, this can't be right. I thought someone, mistyped it, but they won over Rock Hill 89-13. He had 165 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns. I only played in the first half. It's incredible. And he got an offer from Coastal Carolina after the game. So big time congrats to Turbo, our boy. He's been with CFI from the start, man. I'm so proud of him. Porter Ridge, I put athlete on here because he played offense and defense, but he, kind of specializes at linebacker. Harrison Johnson, 10 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, receiving touchdown in the victory over Rocky River. Great job for Harrison. Obviously, I saw him over the summer at UNC Charlotte. Hickory Ridge, big win over Hunter Huss. Had once again, a lot of guys played well. But we'll focus on defensive lineman Alexander Bailey. Had 2.5 sacks in the forced fumble in that victory. We're going to see Hickory Ridge up close this week. They host Charlotte Catholic. Me and the producer will be there. That's our game of the week. Country Day, quarterback Khalil Wright. I talked about him when we talked about the NCISAA teams. 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown in their victory. Country Day getting off to a good start. I'm glad to see that. They had a tough year last year, but now they're starting off well this year. Congratulations to the Buccaneers. Another one of our guys, running back Carmelo Best, had a 58-yard punt return touchdown, 164 yards rushing, and another touchdown in their victory over Concord. You can check out those highlights from Sumter Productions on our social media channel. He did a great job with those. And then finally, at Burns, quarterback Ben Mooney, good gracious, 23 of 25, 385 yards and 5 touchdowns in a big victory over Forest View. Burns versus Crest this week might just put up some crooked numbers on the scoreboard. All right. And I knew chat administrator was going to have some stuff right here talking about the linebacker Farmer. He said Farmer is so fast, his sideline to sideline movement was ridiculous in that game. Good stuff right there. And then he wants to shout out one more guy. Backup running back Kaiwan Westmoreland throwing up 122 yards and 12 carries in the score. All right, good stuff. So congrats to all those guys for doing a great job. And we're going to continue to shout out players every week, all year long. So if you got a guy that has done a great job, make sure you tag us. That's the best way. Tag us in the information. If you don't have stats, that's fine too, because we'll find a way to highlight them in something that we got coming real soon. But congratulations to all those players that did well. tag us in your stats, and we'll do our best to get you on Petman's Players, recognize you for what you've done. Okay, now let's bring back the guys because we're going to talk about week 1 in the summary right here. All right, so now we had a lot of good things happen in week 1. Really, really glad that football is back. The big thing I saw, great weather on Friday night. Thursday night down at the stadium, we got rained on. The night everyone moved games to. And Friday ended up having good weather. And crowds ended up being pretty good. I know there's a big crowd down in Shelby for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. We was happy to get no rain. I know everybody was talking about the weather, but it seemed like we didn't get rain all week, so that was a good night.
Absolutely. Chambers gets 1 lick back. That's their whole deal this year. Get the lick back tour. So mentioned it earlier. Big win over Cardinal Gibbons. Lick back from the championship game. Congratulations to those guys. And they got another big game this week going up against Highland Springs out of Virginia. In the return match from last year when they went up there and defeated them. And we'll talk about that game in a little bit. But any thoughts on Chambers, over Cardinal Gibbons?
Yeah, I was really impressed. I got to watch about a quarter of a half of it on television. Bubba looked exceptional. The wide receivers, I mean, those jokers are so slippery. They cannot be tackled in space. I thought that the defensive line played extremely well. The linebacker play was really strong as well. I mean, it just felt like they punched Cardinal Gibbons in the mouth, and Cardinal Gibbons really couldn't respond. Cardinal Gibbons didn't have the speed defensively to match up with Chambers, especially on the outside. And then, a couple times they got Chambers in 3rd and long, and some of those were some self-inflicted wounds from Chambers, and Bubba took off for a 15, 17-yard gain. It's that 3rd and long turns into a first down. His ability to flip the field is unlike very few quarterbacks in the state of North Carolina right now.
Absolutely. And, I mentioned it earlier, the way he can escape the pocket, even when he gets pressure in his face, is just, it does wonders for that offense because, to your point, it's hard enough to try to cover the receivers and try to stick with them for, an extra 3 and 4 seconds. You're asking a lot.
Well, and what it does is it makes your offensive line so much more comfortable. They don't feel like they have to hold that block for 3 seconds. They miss a block or they lose a guy 2nd and a half in, Bubba is gone, man. I mean, we talked about this back at the HBCU camp. I thought he had the fastest first two steps of anybody at the camp. And when I talked to college coaches, like, y'all got to be creative in this, man. This dude can play. This dude is an FCS level talent. If he was 6'2", he'd be a FBS level talent. And I really think he's going to wake North Carolina up. I was really impressed with Coach Littlejohn's play calling, the way that he spread the field. Where he was really, really good is he made, once again, not as fast Cardinal Gibbons defense run sideline to sideline. He made them defend all 53 1/3, and Cardinal Gibbons wore down. And you saw it the second half, especially. Cardinal Gibbons was just drained because Chambers simply outplayed them with their speed and outplayed them with their conditioning.
Yep, I know the biggest thing that I've seen in games like this, they got a defensive touchdown. So that's big whenever you get your defense can cause turnovers and big games and just making statements early in the season. So I think that's one of the things that helped them out a lot. Just how their defense was swarming to the ball, safeties coming down, making tackles. So that's always a good recipe for a good night.
Well said, well said. And we talked about South Point dominating number 1 Gaffney. Huge crowd down there. Shout out to the Turf King people for putting that together. But man, what a performance! Coach Q, Coach Collins getting it done. How about Coach? I hadn't heard a lot of this. Coach Q got a lot of love, deservedly so. Great job calling the offense. But for Coach Bobby Collins to come in for his first year, and with all the pressure of defending champions, going up against number 1 Gaffney, and going out and having that team ready to put on that kind of performance, man, that's a huge kudos right there. Because a lot of people going into that game, I saw, they were doing the pre-game polls and all that. Everyone was picking Gaffney to win, and South Point went out there and said, hey, and their motto, they are still South Point.
South Point.
And that was impressive. As I said earlier, Charlotte Kickoff Classic, every year it seems like it rains down there. Got through the first game all right, but then the second game, about toward the end of the first quarter, the skies opened up, and everyone started scurrying out, including me and producer, because we weren't going to stick around in that stuff. But otherwise, it was a nice event. The stadium, looks great. I know there were some problems or some slippery field issues. I saw a lot of guys slipping on the turf down there, but it's just a shame that we can't get more games down there because, it's a great experience for us kids and everyone to play in, such a nice stadium in downtown. But, economics, man, it's got to make sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense for a lot of teams, unfortunately. Cleveland County, strong as ever, man. We had the Kings Mountain Shelby game. And then we had Burns and Crest go out and dominate their opponents in Freedom and Forest View. So all four teams, man, even the Kings Mountain Shelby game came down to, a 2-point margin. And, Big Shelby, I told you I wasn't going to ask you about it, but
it's fine. You can ask any questions, man. But what I will say, just speaking on Cleveland County, we're always good down here year in, year out. Even last year, we had all four teams make playoffs. All four teams made it at least to the third round. Football is no question is what the dominant sport is here. Kings Mountain is looking to make another run in 3A. They did a good job last year. They got beat by Dudley, I believe, in the fourth round maybe. Without their best defensive player playing in playoffs. So they have him back, A.J. Richardson. He set the tone in week one. He's looking to get his lick back from all those games he missed. He got Crest with a very strong team. They got, like you said, the receiver, Jamari Green. Is very dominant. He can do a lot of things with the ball in his hands. Then they also get back the receiver, Malachi. I know a lot of people don't know about Malachi Addison. I believe that's his last name. Yeah, a lot of kids don't know about him, but he's just as dynamic as Jamari, so they just got him back healthy. Then you got Burns, that's led by Ryan Thompson, that receiver, and L.J. Allen, and the quarterback, Ben Mooney. So they have there's a lot of good talent down here. Our football is just as good as anybody's, even though we have just 4 schools. I'm willing to put us up against anybody, whether if it's North Carolina or South Carolina. I just feel like, that's what we breed down here. So, our county is always good, but I think it's even better this year because each team has the potential chance to make a deep playoff run.
Absolutely. Well said, man. Well said. Weddington and Christian. Looked like that was the best game of the week. Weddington getting that win in overtime over Charlotte Christian. I think, was it 39-38 or something like that? That the amount of well-coached schemes between those two teams, I'm sure, was very impressive. That's the thing that impresses me the most about these teams, besides them having great talent, obviously, to be competitive and successful year in and year out. I think both of those teams are going to be, deep playoff contenders in their respective divisions. In the NCHSAA 4A for Weddington, and then in the NCISAA for Christian. And Weddington's got another big game this week against Providence Day, that we'll talk about in a little bit. I think there's a young star budding on Patriot Drive. We talked about the young quarterback, Justin Little. And Kenneth, I know you're shaking your head. I know you were impressed by, what he did.
Especially the second half. He made some really nice reads. He made some nice throws. He threw some really nice comeback routes, which – DJ is a Tommy Knott's disciple, man. He better be able to throw the comeback. But I felt like, especially late in the third quarter and into the fourth quarter, the quarterback really started to become who I believe their offense is going to be, and that is that zone read. He read he had several really beautiful zone reads where he pulled it. He ran the sideline. The force player came up to attack the quarterback, and he lobbed it out on the bubble route. Another time he kept it. The force player went to cover the bubble, and he scurried for 7 or 8 yard gain. Extremely slippery. He's got a really pretty ball. I love his release. And especially as he begins to grow and get more confidence, we talked about this, that offense has potential to be extremely explosive.
Absolutely. Well said, man. And then our buddy Karen Belt checking in. Go Big Eye. There you go. Thanks for watching, Karen. Dedicated. We love it.
Good hamburgers at the Big Eye Friday night, too, by the way.
I get back over there and try one, man. And then Charlotte Catholic and Lake Norman showing some spread offense, man. I'll tell you.
Wait, say that again.
I was at Charlotte Catholic and Lake Norman showing some spread offense.
When you say spread offense, what you mean? Like wide receivers?
Yeah, spread formation. Yeah.
Detached tight ends? Boy, it is a strange world we live in now, isn't it?
Well, it's funny because I was talking with the Charlotte Catholic players at the Southwestern 4A Media Day, and I was telling them, I was telling the quarterback Sean Boyle, I said, "Hey man, pretty good, man. Why don't y'all throw some spread in there, man? Mix it up a little bit." And then the tight end Jack Larson came over, was laughing. He was like, "Oh, man, I wish." And I knew they were sandbagging me. They were sandbagging me because they knew they had been working on it.
If I had Jack Lawson, we'd be spread out too.
Mm-hmm. I think you got to. I think you got to have some spread stuff with a guy like that, man. You put him outside, you're forced to double him, so now you're playing 10 on 9. So I like your chances when you playing 10 on 9. So you got to show some spread, man. Somehow, some way, you got to do at least a couple plays to keep people on their toes.
And I saw Coach Marvin too.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Before I talk about him, Coach Brodowitz did an interview, and I watched it, and he was kind of laughing, talking about, we got it, and we can do a little bit more. And he said, just stay tuned. And I was like, oh boy, I'm excited. And then Lake Norman, they showed some spread, and they threw it. They threw it to Chase, and he had a touchdown, 1-on-1 in the end zone out of the spread formation. He was out wide, so. It's exciting stuff, man. Teams that traditionally, run the ball 90% of the time are now spreading it out with some good talent and highlighting that talent. And that's just a reflection of good coaching. Coaches, and one of the things Coach Brodowitz said is they had the personnel to do it. So, they're going to do it. And, that's fun. That's fun for the fans. And it's great for those kids, to get exposed in different ways. So, all right, we got a couple comments here on this. Patrick C. Chambers and South Point were impressive Saturday. For Chambers, hopefully they can get a little crisper and clean up the penalties as the season progresses. Yeah, it's week one. It's week one, and, that happens. It happens to everybody, and, that's what not preseason, but pre-conference play is for, working out the kinks, and, they go back, watch the film, and, correct those mistakes for sure. Let's see. Scott Marquez, Indy always has good burgers. Oh, okay. Okay, well, I wish I would have known that. I wouldn't have got a hot dog and a Chick-fil-A sandwich, but it's all right.
Bougie, man. New cars, Chick-fil-A sandwiches. Man, you got enough money. You got a lot of money to spend at them games.
Come on, man. The Chick-fil-A sandwich is $5, man. That's market price. You gotta take advantage, man. You gotta take advantage. All right. All right, now what everyone's been waiting for, that caused all the controversy last week. Week 2, Dirty Dozen. And I didn't mess up this time, Kenneth. I double-checked my work. All right, this is what we got. So, Chambers, Huff, Providence today remain in the top 3. Butler and Mallard Creek move up to 4 and 5 with dominant performances in their games over West Charlotte and Myers Park. Weddington at 6th, Charlotte Christian 7. I felt like, they both played well. I mean, they're right there with each other. Overtime victory for Weddington. Catholic at 8. I think obviously they're still very good. But they lost a lot on defense, and they showed a little bit against South Mech. Kings Mountain moves up to 9 with their victory over Shelby. Hickory Ridge at 10, RGK 11, and then Porter Ridge comes into the poll at 12 with their big victory over Rocky River. And then I wanted to put on the edge for the teams that are right there, knocking on the door of the Dirty Dozen. We got Crest, Burns, Shelby, South Point, Belmont, South Point, and Monroe. Monroe had a big victory over Marvin Ridge, and South Point had a big win over Lincolnton. So, Dirty Dozen thoughts.
I think somebody will still always be upset no matter how good of a job you do, man. Not saying me, but I'm sure other schools are looking at it like, wow.
Well, last week I got a lot of South Mech hate on Instagram, so I mean,
hey, it's all right, man.
It comes from everybody.
Yeah, Pepper's always right though.
Yeah, chat administrator, where's my hashtag, man? Because these guys are speechless, man. Come on now, you guys watching, you have nothing to say. I need my hashtag.
I would think South Point's big win would got them at least top 5, top 6 or 7, maybe.
Well, I don't rank the South Carolina teams in it because it's sponsored by the Queen City Senior Bowl. We don't take the South Carolina kids. I wish we could, but
you can always put them honorable mention there because you say on the edge, that mean they eventually gonna get in.
They'll be on the next slide. We're gonna do the county rankings next. They're pretty high on them. Markel Riley seems. Oh man.
This is your 1 week to revel, Pep. This is the 1 week that you can be right until week 18.
Oh, awesome. Well, since I'm so right and everyone is in agreement, I got to do something that I've never done before. Hold on one second. I would love to thank everyone for believing that I am right, and no one has anything bad to say this week. This is a great moment in CFI Football Focus Weekly history, and I'd like to thank all of the film that I watched and all of the wonderful athletes out here that do such a great job. And thank you, coaches, for the great job you do on a weekly basis.
Pep, that close-up got me thinking, hold on now, Pep. Go back to your close-up now. Put back on the screen.
Hell, no,
and Pep, I need you to take those headphones off your head and get a little side shot, man. We got to see what sharp lines and crisp fades look like.
Wait. We got comments we got to address, so we can't.
$100 fade, baby.
I mean, if you want to see Pep's fade, we need a comment. Let's see Pep's fade. Oh,
yeah,
do the side. Whoa, my gosh. Man.
He said, man, like Shaq.
We already know Pep got some kisses with you that night.
Pep came home, straight kisses at the door.
What?
Little she was waiting on him at the door.
You guys are terrible.
She was in the driveway with your favorite meal in her hand.
She met her at the light.
Oh gosh! All right, Karen Belk says Butler's too high. Well, that there's a little bit of bias in that, Miss Belk. That's okay though. Let's see, Terrence. I'm gonna come back to your comment on that. Just hold tight. Let's see right here. Patrick C seems accurate to me too. Porter Ridge has a squad this year. I can see them at the top of this list in a few. Wow, Patrick, Porter Ridge at the top.
At the top?
Okay. Yeah, that's that. Well, tell us why at the top, because them top, the top 5 are really, really strong. So yeah, I'd love to hear that.
But it's the right thing.
Oh, chat administrator. Good gracious. That Huff hate is deep. It's deep, man. Good gracious. All right. And I see. Miss Deidre's, I think this is in response to Miss Belt there. She's just messing. She's just messing.
Uh-oh.
She's an Indy fan.
About to get spicy on here.
What you talking about?
Yeah, I watched them moms in love with football, baby.
Oh, well, that is very true. That is very true. Melissa Armstrong is also rooting for Butler. JJE and TK. Butler has a lot of weapons. Absolutely. Absolutely. They got Richmond Senior this week. And, preseason, it looked like it might be a fun one. But, whew, we got a lot to do down in Richmond, by the way. Let's see here. And then, of course, thanks, guys. See what you've started here. There was a post on, well, it's still there, but there's a post on Instagram that, Mr. Billups decided to go and screenshot and put on Twitter. I couldn't find what I was looking for him, but I'll get him at some point. Let's see. Chat administrator. Sure. Yes, you do. He's talking about Mooresville. He's saying if Mooresville pulls an upset on Huff, do they get special exceptions to make the list? Yes. Damn. Yes, you do.
Damn, they don't get jumped. They're just going to hop in the list, unranked the rank.
I mean, the Stallions don't get listed, but the Mooresville Blue Devils get listed.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Crest or
now.
Crest or Burns,
no, we're going to talk
listed?
about South Point here in a second. We're going to talk. They own the list, man.
Nah, Pep.
They on the next slide.
It ain't the 30
When you have a blue track, you get all the special considerations.
It ain't the 30 dozen, Pep. It ain't the same. It ain't the same, man. Come on now, Pep. It ain't you know that.
Noted.
You know that.
Noted. Okay.
That's what everybody tune in on the show for, the Dirty Dozen.
Is that so? I thought it was you, Big Show.
Nah, they don't like me, man. They don't like me.
Oh, of course, the chat administrator has downgraded you to medium share.
Hey, I'm gonna take the high road. Tell Kyle, he lucky I like him. He a cool guy. I'm gonna take the high road. I'm gonna take the high road. I'm giving out 3 strikes tonight. That's strike 1.
All right. Well, let's move on to the county rankings. And oh wow. All right, Joey. Hey, Joey B. Welcome to the show. I don't think I've seen you comment before. He says, "Can't wait to see potentially Dudley versus a Cleveland County school."
You got last year. Kings Mountain went up to Dudley and played.
Yeah.
I think that'll be another game we'll see this year in playoffs. Kings Mountain versus Dudley. Hopefully, Kings Mountain can win out and get the game on their home field and make Dudley have to travel to them.
Absolutely. And then our buddy Joe Hughes makes his debut tonight. Webb goes headlong into conflict like Mick Foley.
Hey, Joe, man, I'm getting better, man. I'm getting better every day, man. I deleted Facebook, man. I'm getting better every day, man. I'm only on Twitter and Instagram right now. I'm getting better, Joe.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Chris Hagler. Oh, Professor, you'll like this. Chris Hagler, it's really to hear the professor why people tune in. So, okay, there you go. Cabarrus County representing.
Yeah, we play football in Cabarrus County too.
Yeah,
one of my good friends played football at Central Cabarrus.
There it is.
I think he had 6 touchdowns one game, man.
Dang, that's a lot of touchdowns.
Impressive. I ain't gonna ask who they played because
I want to know. His name was Kenny Purvis.
He was good. Kenny was good. He had about 5 touchdowns versus Concord High School. His problem was Rocky Reed had like 7 touchdowns.
It might have been a game.
It was like a 60-50 game.
Good Lord. All right, so now the county rankings, and I apologize for the font. I was having technical issues, but I'll go through it. So Mecklenburg is pretty straightforward. We got Chambers, Huff, Providence Day, and Butler as the top 4 teams. Upstate South Carolina. This is where we talk about South Point. I've got South Point number 1, Northwestern number 2, and I know it's crazy. They won 89-13. Why don't you put them number 1? I mean, South Point beat Gaffney, and Northwestern beat Rock Hill, so it's a big gap there. Indian Land number 3. They had a big win over, I believe they beat Nation Ford. And then Catawba Ridge won big in their first game, I believe, 31-7. So that's the top 4 in the upstate South Carolina. Really good, strong top 4. Hopefully we can get to the upstate at some point this year and check out some good football down there. Gaston, we got South Point 1, Ashbrook 2. Ashbrook with the big win over Concord, 46-12. That was impressive. I think, to say that they would win that game wouldn't be a stretch, but in dominant fashion was the impressive part. Then Mountain Island, who hadn't played yet, but, I'm not going to hold that against them. We got Mountain Island 3, and then East Gaston 4. They had to win over North Gaston last week to put them in the 4th spot. Cleveland County at Kings Mountain 1, Shelby 2, Burns 3, Crest 4, but Big Shelby, to your point, those 4 teams, man, they can go toe-to-toe with any of these 4 groups right here on this screen for sure. So really good football down in Cleveland County. Really good football in Union County. We've got Weddington 1 over there, win over Charlotte Christian. Porter Ridge 2, we talked about them. Monroe 3, and then Forest Hills at 4. Forest Hills getting a win in week 1. I believe it was 27-7 over Piedmont. And there's a lot of good talent on that Forest Hills team with Brady Hibbert at quarterback, Jarrell Boulder at receiver, and they got some other guys that can make some plays for those guys. We got them at 4. So Union County deep this year with Forest Hills coming up. You still got a Marvin Ridge team you got to consider down the line as well. And then in Cabarrus County, we got Hickory Ridge at 1. I'm not going to punish J.M. Robinson that much for that loss. They were right there for most of the game against Indy, so I got them 2. Mount Pleasant at 3. And then Northwest Cabarrus at number 4 with their win over West Cabarrus. What do you think about these guys?
I like these. I think I would switch Ashbrook and South Point. I think I would probably switch those 2. Other than that, Ashbrook had they had a very good game 1 against Concord, man. Ashbrook, Coach Darius James, and DC Zeke Bigger. Those are my guys right there. So they're doing a good job of. I know they went through a lot during the COVID year. So just to see them even back in the point where they're trying to get back to the old Ashbrook way is very great. So I think they're I think they are the best team in Gaston County. I'm sure they get the chance to prove it when they get to go up against all those old schools. So I'm rooting for Ashbrook down there. But yeah, for the most part, I like all these. I like all the rankings, man. I think they're pretty fair.
All right. Engine, you got anything to share there?
Yeah, it's tough to argue with Cabarrus County right now. Obviously, Hickory Ridge had a big win. They've got a huge test Friday night. J.M. Robinson has a ton of potential and a lot of talent on that team. Mount Pleasant has looked really good in a scrimmage, and now in week 1, they're going up to Rowan County Friday night. Northwest had a big win. I think that most people around here believe that Northwest, at least talent-wise, has been as good as any other team in Cabarrus County. Maybe that will start to come to fruition. And then, Pep, don't forget, we've got Cannon School still in Cabarrus County as well, the defending whatever that league, state champions is. I get confused at what it is, but they had a big win Friday night as well, and they've got an extremely talented quarterback and running back and other players that we've mentioned. Ashbrook, we knew was going to be extremely explosive offensively. If you would have asked me, I had it being a 28-7 kind of game. I didn't expect a 44-12 or whatever it ended up. Of course, Union County, man. You just flip heads or tails just about any game they have. That's just a really solid football playing county as well. And then, of course, Cleveland County. No, I think you're right on it, Pep. Interested to see how Mount Pleasant. I'm headed to the Mount Pleasant game Friday night at Carson. One of my former guys is the new head coach at Carson, and course, Coach Crosby coached with me at Central. So really interested to see that game. I've heard Mount Pleasant's triple option is pretty tight right now, so I'm excited to see it. Of course, TD Moose.
All right, let me bring the producer in. I'm sorry to keep you. I didn't see you, man.
Super
I knew,
producer,
I knew
baby.
you were here, but
All good, man. All good. Had to pop in. Glad to be here. Looking over things here. I don't see too much to argue with at this point. I agree with still having Large Shelby and J.M. Robinson at 2. I know there's really no such thing as a quality loss. I know it doesn't exist, but with Shelby, going down to what I call a quality opponent, and J.M. Robinson, like you said, they were in the game, so I'm cool with them staying where they are. That the week one losses for them won't define them or their season. So, I agree with that.
awesome, good deal. Let's see, chat administrator. Since Iredell plays football too, here's my take. And no surprise at number 1 there.
Yeah.
You got Statesville, Lake Norman, South Iredell. South Iredell with a big win. Good for them. And then Pine Lake, North Iredell, and then I guess is that West Iredell that's supposed to be last there. But
we only ranked 4 teams in the conference, chat administrator. Can't be doing 7, man.
Well,
I know they got
he's easing his way
I know they
in.
got a West Side there.
Yeah, I think that's.
Hey, he ranked 7. We're only ranking 4.
That's what I'm saying.
Kyle, can you not read, Kyle? We're ranking 4, not 7.
That's some,
Okay.
That's some. Everybody else is doing 4. Sam Griner does 7 too. I mean, come on, chat administrator.
All right.
You're supposed to know those
he's
things,
at
chat
work,
administrator. You're supposed to know.
We'll give him a break. He's at work and he's he's excited, man. It's Football Focus Weekly. People, it's all good. It's all good.
He gets double time.
One way to look at it.
Touche. All right, Joe Hughes with a couple comments. Talking about Coach Kiefer that coached at Central Bears. I think he went down to the coast, right? Green Sea Floyd, I think he was down there.
He's at West
I don't
Ashley
know if
now.
he's still there or not.
Hey, why Joe barely got
West
his
Ashley.
toboggan on in this picture?
I know a pretty damn good coach from Central Bears too.
You ever notice that Kenneth's toboggan is barely, not Kenneth, but Joe's toboggan is barely on his head? It's like this.
Like
There's a kid on his lap.
Is it like Adabisi?
Yeah, he looks like he's stuck in the 90s.
Well, we're going to see it again because I got to put this one up. South Point dumping a good Lincoln team was doggone impressive. So,
Agree there.
he wants to hold out a little bit on Ashbrook. But, yeah. Now I can't unsee the toboggan, man. Y'all going to make Joe change his profile picture, man.
Nah, Joe got tough skin, man. He's not changing nothing.
All right, well, let's take our first look at the CMS Best of Last, which when I put it on Instagram always causes much consternation. But anyway, so this is what we got right here. This is our ranking of all. Well, this is mine. Let me say my ranking of all CMS football programs from best to last. This is the longest running ranking that I've done. I've done it for about 5 or 6 years. Going back to my days at Carolina Varsity. And I guess the way y'all are shaking, I guess I broke my streak of being right because y'all shaking your heads.
I see one change I would make.
All right. Well, okay. Go ahead, producer. I'll let you go.
I think I would switch. I'm gonna put I would put Garinger 19.
That's what I'm saying.
Palisades 20. Garinger only gave up 14 points.
14-0. 14 points.
Yeah, so I'm
Come on now, Pep.
I would give Garinger 19.
And Billups our guy. At least show him some type of love.
And it gets started too.
Yeah, Garinger's my 19.
Come on, Pep. Come on, Billups. I mean, Pep, man. Look out for Billups.
You shouldn't have went after my fade.
That was one of the top 10 sharpest haircuts ever. So
Hey, that haircut,
Come on.
that haircut went viral on Instagram.
Joking aside, okay, I can see that. What else you got?
I'm-
It's tough after 1 week. You know,
Who did
it's
Butler
tough
play
after
last
1
Friday?
week.
West Charlotte.
West Charlotte.
Okay, so you got West Charlotte 12. Who did Malachi Creek beat last week?
Myers Park.
Mark.
I think he might get flipped though. Based off your rankings, them two could get flipped.
I mean,
Feel it, Kenneth.
Let's go to the comments.
I'm gonna say.
All right, Markel Rowley. Top 2 are solid. I don't know about the rest. Top 4, honestly, but I think Creek may be better than Butler. Okay. Once again, I can understand it. But we're talking about a razor thin margin, between those two. Let's see, Chat Administrator, it might flip Creek and Butler. Huff is good at 2, and he thinks Independent should be above Olympic. Well, Olympic flat out dominated Sun Valley. I mean, it was, I think, 49-7. And just looking at the film, it was bad. It was, just flat out domination by Olympic. And that's what, and it's hard because you start looking at who plays who. And after 1 week, you get some lopsided games, and then you got some teams that play good teams, and you're trying to kind of compare and measure, but I can understand it. That's another one I can understand. Joey B, Creek over Butler. Once again, I can understand that as well. But I think, Mallard Creek, benefits from playing in a big time showcase game. They had a lot of eyes on them. Not as many people saw, Butler's win over West Charlotte. But, once again, I look at film and I trust what, people tell me. And, from what I saw, Butler's defense was super dominant against West Charlotte, just as much as Mallard Creek's defense was, dominant against Myers Park. So, I can see that though. Let's see here. Chat Administrator, Andy's win, I think, is more impressive over a strong J.M. Robinson team. Yeah, in the fourth quarter, they did what they had to do. Absolutely. But for 3.5 quarters, that game was pretty even. We were there. It was a pretty even game for 3.5 quarters. I won't post that one.
Do it. Do it. Put it up.
Come on, boost the ratings, man. Boost the ratings.
Controversy sales.
Man,
Let's go.
Oh, it'll sell on Instagram for sure.
Boost the ratings.
People forget they're on social media sometimes over there, but that's okay. But yeah, the Butler Mallard Creek, I get that. That one is really tough. That's a tough one to rank. Olympic Independence, I can see that one, being a tough one to rank. And then I understand about Palisades and Garinger, all jokes aside, But yeah, overall, I think we've got a decent kind of feel for, where everyone is right now. This week, of course, will help kind of shape things, a little bit more. And then I think by the time we get to conference play, we'll have a pretty decent idea on where everyone is going to be for the most part this season. Okay, Joe Hughes. We'll leave you alone, Joe. We'll leave you alone.
That's the toboggan hat. He got the toboggan hat on. You remember he used to make the toboggans with the hat brim in the front?
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man, that is wrong. Miss Deidre right there. We're going to let the gents have their say for week 1, but defense to defense, we will, I guess she means revisit this.
Who does she like?
So. She's a Butler supporter.
Okay.
Yeah. And then y'all know I think Cherie is speaking through me because y'all know Cherie was the most ardent Butler fan last year, and I think her influence is channeling through me, and I have Butler over Mallet Creek, so I know somewhere she is smiling, saying, "You keep Butler where they are," for sure. No matter what, she was with them guys. Let's see. Semi-right. Oh, thanks, chat administrator. I appreciate it.
Being semi-right is better than being all the way wrong. So you can look at it that way.
Well, you missed it earlier, producer. No one had a problem with me earlier. I had to have a moment, but now that has been taken away from me.
Oh man,
I tell you. Yeah. DJ at the end of his interview shouted, her out, and I thought that was awesome, because that's why we were at Independence week 1, and I still tag her when I promote the show, and it's just habit, and we'll never forget her. That's for sure. That is for sure. Reggie Lee, thank you guys so much. Well, we're here for you. We're here for you, Reggie. We're here for everybody. And when I did the conference rankings, everyone told me, our stuff was posted in locker rooms and all that stuff. So we just give you something fresh to post, man. That's what we do. That's what we do. Provide motivation. Thank you, Deidre. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say. All right. Let's move on to
because
me.
Big Chevy number 1 all the time for me, baby.
Even up against the Carolina Panthers.
Yep. As long as you know.
All right, let's go on to our week 2 game previews. All right, first off, we're going to be at Hickory Ridge. Me and producer will be there this week going up against Charlotte Catholic. You start looking at this game. Of course, Charlotte Catholic won over South Mech last week, 41-26. And then Hickory Ridge won over Hunter Huss, 45-0. So, obviously, big step up for Hickory Ridge going up against Catholic this week. We start looking at a Catholic, very strong offensive team. With the quarterback Sean Bowl committed to Charlotte, Jack Larson committed to Notre Dame, and then big offensive lineman Clint Barlow, along with they have a really good running back as well who rushed for 190 yards last week. So Hickory Ridge facing a multifaceted Catholic offense now that can run and pass very well. And on the flip side, Catholic, only 2 starters returning on defense, going up against a Hickory Ridge team with a lot of offensive talent. Big quarterback come up from JV, throwing a deep ball very well. Saw he hit Jalen Harris on a big touchdown pass. Of course, they still have Christian Hamilton. And then, a bevy of other weapons, Aaron Carey in the backfield as well. Big game here. A lot of talent on the field. You guys got any thoughts on it? Good stuff. All right. I'll tell you, I'll conclude with this. We're very excited to be at Hickory Ridge. They're always really, really great people over there. And I think it's going to be a lot of points put on the board. This is the first test for new Hickory Ridge defensive coordinator. Hunter Huss was kind of low on numbers. But Hickory Ridge has a lot of returning talent, especially at the linebacker spot. And I expect those guys to make some big plays. And, last year Catholic got the best of Hickory Ridge over at Charlotte Catholic. And this year, we will see if Hickory Ridge can exact some revenge and move to 2-0 on the season. All right. Big game right here. Talked about this game earlier on a little podcast that I did. Weddington going on the road once again, going over to Providence Day. Weddington with the big win in overtime over Charlotte Christian. And then Providence Day beating Legion Collegiate out of Rock Hill at home last week, 42-7. Of course, you start looking at talent on both of these teams. Weddington with Griffin Reimer, can play, a multitude of positions on the field. Of course, Providence State with the quarterback Jaden Davis, the talented receivers Goodwin and Ship, and then of course the big offensive line with our boy Mr. Moore, and then Mr. Sanders, who got named, I believe, the #1 player in his class of 2025 by 247 Sports, and that's a big time honor for them. So a lot of talent on the field. I think it's going to be another high scoring game. Once again, should be a lot of fun to watch. I know a lot of people were talking about this game around the city, saying they were going to go check it out. You guys have any thoughts on this one?
I think people will finally get to see how good Providence Day really is. I know just going from Wellington's scheme, I would say it'd be the defensive coordinators. Both defensive coordinators will have their money made up. They have their match made in heaven right here to see what they're gonna do. Because I know Providence Day, I know their offense is high power. You know that Wellington offense, you just never know what you're about to see. So I think I think both defensive coordinators got a lot to prove in this game.
Absolutely. And that, you look at a game like this, it's the defense that has to step up and make a play, to make the difference. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the highlights from that one, and it's going to be a lot of good stuff over there. And a lot of good people at Providence Day too. It's a real nice place to watch a football game. Okay, our next game, Highland Springs out of Virginia, is coming down to take on Chambers. Highland Springs, highly ranked in Virginia. Some polls have them. What's going on?
That was my bad. Cut fail,
Okay.
man.
Some polls have them as the second-ranked team in the state of Virginia, and they're coming down to play Chambers, who a lot of us have them #1 in the state, especially after last week. Last year, Chambers went up to Highland Springs and defeated them on the road, and they defeated them with their backup quarterback, who is now at Cox Mill, Damir Edwards. Bubba Camp did not play in that game. And you start looking at it, both of these teams are kind of like mirror images of each other. Both extremely athletic, both with great skill talent, big linemen. And when you get a matchup like that, #1, it's great to see, like talent versus like talent. But then #2, it's the team that executes the best, doesn't have the penalties, doesn't have turnovers. And, we alluded to it earlier. We talked about Chambers and the penalties from week 1. They're going to have to, clean that up in here in week 2, to get a victory against a very talented team that wants to get revenge from losing on their home last year. What do you guys think about this?
Highland Springs, I'm sure, has been looking forward to this one for a long time. I'm sure they had this circled since last year. So, obviously this was, this series, I guess, would be arranged well in advance. So I'm sure they've been thinking about it. Out-of-state team comes into your house and beats you. That's a heck of a bit of motivation right there. So we'll see how Chambers responds.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because, in week 1, Chambers had the motivation factor, obviously from the state championship loss. But, now week 2, they defeated this team last year already. So, the good thing is it's at home. So I don't think they'll have any issues about, trying to be motivated or anything. They should have a good crowd there. And, should be a great atmosphere for an excellent opponent coming down to Charlotte. And we got to shout this out. I love, the fact that we're able to start playing these out-of-area games because for a long time, teams wanted to play these games and, there was a lot of pushback from, different, people in the system. And, they said, no, you got to find a local opponent. You can't go do this, can't go do that. But now, people are able to do it. So, I'm glad that, we're starting to relax, those rules a little bit, and we're getting some great matchups because of it.
Wait.
And we've got another one right here. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, how the old saying goes, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So definitely shout out to schools like Chambers and then even Mallard Creek coming up for being willing to play strong opponents. Because, there was a time when certain, powerhouse schools would just schedule someone that they could just steamroll over. So this is a good litmus test for your programs if you're willing to schedule top programs out of state. So this kind of shows you where you are. So definitely shout out to both schools for being willing to seek out top talent and play them.
Absolutely. We got a good comment here from let's see, Fornado. Fornado's excited for that Chambers game. Yeah. I wish, there's so many good games this weekend, and Joe Hughes, commented on that earlier. Damn good slate of games. I mean, it's hard, man. It's hard. In the old days, we used to go to 2 different games in one night. But we kind of stopped doing that just because you don't get into the game as much when you're staying at one for a quarter and a half and trying to get to another one, and you get there mid third quarter, and but this is one of those weeks, man. I wish I could be 3 places at one time, but it is what it is, man. Kaye says Cougars beat them on their stadium opener. They want blood, but North Carolina is ready. That is right. Yeah, they were opening a new stadium up there last year. So, producer, to your point, yeah, Highland Springs definitely has the motivating factor there, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next game. We got Mallard Creek going on the road to Georgia to take on Buford. And this Buford, Georgia team is a pretty good football team. You start looking them up a little bit. Polls have them ranked as high as 13th in the nation. And Joe Hughes weighing in right here. He says Buford by 2 touchdowns over Mallard Creek. They looked good last week versus Thompson out of Alabama. And I believe that Thompson team was ranked as well. I think I saw that they were ranked like 17th or something last week. So, this is great. This is great for Mallard Creek to get that exposure and to get the opportunity to go on the road and, possibly, at least on a national level, shock the world. But we know what Mallard Creek has and all the talent and big size and, the ability to run the football on the offensive side of football. And defensively, what we saw against Myers Park was really impressive outside of the one field goal that Myers Park got set up off of a trick play, on the first drive. So, you're going down to Buford. First and foremost, they got to stop the run. That based on what I saw about Buford, they love to run the football and establish that first off before anything else. And then what I saw from Mallard Creek last week, their linebackers really did a good job of filling and shutting down anything before it got started for Myers Park in the run game, whether it was up the middle or to the sideline. They really flow well to the football and for really fundamentally sound. So. Thank you, Terrence Thompson, number 17 in the country last. Yeah, I thought I saw that. So, you guys get any other thoughts on Mallard Creek and Buford this week?
I think it'd be a good test for Mallard Creek just to see if they can get back to that national stage again. I think I've seen somewhere where somebody says if Mallard Creek wins, does that make them a powerhouse again? And I don't think that they stop being a powerhouse in Charlotte. I just want to know, the who's on top in Charlotte kind of circulates every 3-4 years. So, is you got to deal with a lot with just playing in Charlotte. But I think this is a great test for the coaches to put those guys up against one of the best teams in Georgia. So, I think it'd be a good test for them, win or lose. I mean, I think it's a good test for them that'll help them out when it comes to playoffs.
Absolutely. I want to go back to Terrence Lodge's comment he had earlier. I wanted to save it for this segment. It says Providence State has a big challenge. Chad is a heck of a coach and has talent, but the degree of force that Weddington plays with will be the challenge. And that's a good point. We talk about it from week 1 to week 2, the level of talent that you see, that talent gap. Sometimes it takes a quarter or 2 to adjust to that. And going from Legion Collegiate, no offense, but going from Legion Collegiate to Weddington is a big jump, across the board. So it'll be interesting to see how Providence State starts that game, from that perspective, for sure. Buford is a 6A team down in Georgia. Wow. we really need to. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But we need to revisit our 4A and 3A and classifications here. And then I agree, Chad Administrator. A lot of talent, a lot of physical talent, a lot of hard hitting for sure in that game. All right, Chad Administrator, you get to say what you want to say. We'll give you a minute to get your thoughts together. But Mooresville is going to play Huff in a short ride right down 77. You start looking at this game, obviously Mooresville with the impressive win over Davie County last week. And then I saw Huff against Dutch Fork in the Charlotte Kickoff Classic. And I was impressed. I thought Huff, really looked good on defense, especially. Dutch Fork had to go into their bag of tricks. It was only a 9-7 game at the half, and Huff had did a good job of, shutting down Dutch Fork for the most part. And then when Tommy Knotts went to a double pass to set up their touchdown to take the lead, I felt that momentum kind of shift, and then Dutch Fork was able to, kind of get out to like a 21-9 lead and kind of hold on because, Huff did not quit in that game. And Knott said he said something interesting after the game. He said people told him if they got up on Huff that Huff would kind of lay down. And of course they didn't do that. So I was kind of curious on where he got that from because that's not something that we normally think about with Huff, because number one, they win a lot. So I don't know. Maybe he was alluding to last year in the playoffs, but I mean, that was just great work by Chambers. I didn't think, Huff laid down. But anyways, Huff, I think, is very fast, sideline to sideline on defense. I thought their linebackers looked really good, and they have really good and experienced linebacker core. And their younger guys in the secondary really played well. Xavier McIntyre and Samari Matthews, I saw, up close. I thought they did a good job. And their defensive line, led by Brandon Palmer, can help generate pressure. But when you look at it against Mooresville, we know Mooresville runs the football really well. And, they're going to have a downhill power run football attack. And, I think going up against Huff, I think, honestly, that's how you have to attack them. They're too fast to try to go sideline to sideline or sit there and try to throw the football, all night long. So, I think Mooresville has the right, personnel to try to attack the Huff defense. Now, will they be successful? I don't know. But you flip it on the other side, with Tad Hudson and those guys, Mooresville is going to have to really, really guard against giving up the big play because Huff has that ability with J.T. Smith Jr. They put him in the slot. Of course, he, runs the ball a lot, but, they can move him around because they got a Q Williams, that can also carry the football this year. So J.T. Smith, number one, is a big-time threat, and, that Mooresville defense is going to have to key in on him at all times. So what do you guys think here? All right, let's go to the chat. All right, so the chat administrator says standing room only crowd most likely is going to be a really tough challenge. He wants to see the matchup between Booker and the defensive line versus the Huff offensive line, and he feels like that's where the game will be decided. That's a good point. That's a good point for sure. The thing with Huff is I think they can do more offensively than Mooresville can right now. I think, Mooresville's strength is definitely to run, but I think Huff can run and pass, pretty well on a consistent basis. Let's see right here. I'll give one more comment here. I think our linebackers are good enough to cover and have enough football IQ to read the plays and fill the gaps. Well, it all, that all depends on matchups, because when you put J.T. Smith Jr. in the slot, most linebackers in the state of North Carolina are going to have trouble covering him. So, I mean, that depends on your scheme and, what they want to do. Because, I mean, if they're playing zone, then, of course, it's a different kind of matchup than if they're in man. And so it's a good coaching matchup, too. it's a good coaching matchup to see, how Mooresville will come out and attack Huff. And then which way does Huff want to lean, on their, offensive scheme of things? Are they going to try to pound it, or are they going to try to, go for the, I remember on the film last year, Hudson hit some deep balls against the Mooresville secondary. And I was really impressed because I thought they played pretty good man coverage. But Hudson really put the ball in great positions, and his receivers made plays. So that's going to be a big key as well. If Mooresville elects to try and play one-on-one on the outside, those DBs are going to have to make plays when the ball's in the air because, if you're giving up deep balls, it's going to open up everything else for that Huff offense, and they like to be multifaceted in their attack. For NATO, Tad Hudson didn't look too great against Dutch Fork. I wonder if he can get it going this week. Well, I'll say one thing about that. They didn't have Markel Quick. He didn't play in that game. And I think that was a big factor because he's their best receiver when you look at, who they have. And they started going to J.T. Smith. When they started coming back in the fourth quarter, they were finding J.T. Smith in the passing game out of the slot. So I think that's something that I think they're going to look at this week and, maybe utilize that a little bit more because he does create matchup problems when he's in the slot. And it could open some things up on the outside with some of their other receivers like Saquon Osborne. He's a guy that can go make plays as well. So week one, I think they'll work through that. And then definitely, any quarterback, you get pressure on them, it makes them make things difficult. So that's going to be a big key for sure. All right, let's go to the next slide here. All right, we'll run through these real quick. Providence at South Mech. Both of these teams coming off of a loss last week. Providence to RGKL, South Mech to Charlotte Catholic. Obviously for Providence, they got shut out, so they obviously want to get that offense going a little bit. And then for South Mech, this is a kind of a bit of a rivalry as well. Providence had a rivalry with RGKL last week, and South Mech had a rivalry with Charlotte Catholic. So they found some big plays in the passing game. So obviously Providence is going to have to not give up that deep ball because I saw a lot of highlights with Reese, the quarterback, getting outside the pocket and finding receivers downfield. And we know they have some talented receivers in Michael Nesbitt and Tyquez Millette for South Mech. So if that South Mech passing game can make big plays, I like their chances, against the Providence team here. Burns and Crest, we talked about a little bit earlier. It's going to be a lot of points on the board in this one. Two great quarterbacks, and Taylor Husky from Crest and Ben Mooney from Burns. Both of them had big passing games last week in their victories. Big Shelby, you want to add anything on that one?
Yeah, just another one of those good Cleveland County rivalry games, man. Probably sellout crowd. I think it'll be a good test for both teams. Burns returned a lot offensively and defensively, and they're looking to try to take over the county this year. And Crest is coming in with a new offensive system with a lot of guys coming back, starting some freshmen in some areas. So, I think it'll be a good game. I think whatever defense comes out and just establish dominance in the game, that's normally who win these kind of games. But I think that'll be one of the best games that you can watch this Friday night.
Absolutely. We got the battle for the Cottle Cup. That's what Cox Mill and Northwest Cabarrus play for every year. Both of these teams coming off of big victories. Cox Mill 59-25 over Hopewell. And then Northwest Cabarrus 33-13 over West Cabarrus. Engine, Cabarrus County. That's your wheelhouse. What you got?
It should be a high-scoring game. You just said it. Cox Mill, 59 points. They've got a new quarterback. They've got some stud wide receivers. They've got stud running back. They put up a lot of points versus Hopewell. And then Northwest Cabarrus, 33 points. They've got a 4-year starter quarterback. So the kid has been around, or at least a 3-year starter. It feels like he's been there since I was in middle school. Extremely explosive offense. It's at Northwest. It's a big rivalry game. The Cottle Cup, they call it, for Cottle Creek, I guess, that runs by the two schools. It's a big game. And Northwest, their student section is always nuts. They call themselves the Nutties, the Trojan Nutties. They'll be excited and fired up. I'm sure the Cox Mill, they always have a good crowd as well, especially from their students.
Absolutely. Chat administrator Wayne in right here says Cox Mill generally might be a real problem in the greater Metro 4. Went back and watched their game against Hopewell. Once they got into a rhythm, they were impressive. Titus Ivy's name to remember. 6'6" wide receiver that can jump out of the stadium. Okay. Good insight right there, chat administrator. That's why you're the best chat administrator in the Southeast right there. Good stuff. All right. Marvin Ridge at Independence. Marvin Ridge coming off a loss to Monroe last week. And then Independence we saw, obviously in the victory over J.M. Robinson. Marvin Ridge only scored 6 points against Monroe, so obviously they had to get that offense going a little bit. And then Independence seeing if they can replicate the good offensive and defensive execution they had in their victory over J.M. Robinson. Anybody want to throw anything else in there on that one? All right, and then our final game, RGK is taking on Cuthbertson. RGK coming off the victory over Providence, 21-0, and then Cuthbertson with a big win on the road at Parkwood. I think it was 28-26. A good Union County football game there. And then Coach Markentine at Cuthbertson getting his first victory as a head coach of the Cavaliers. So congratulations to Coach right there. This is a bit of a rival game. They're right there on the Mecklenburg Union County borderline right there. RGK likes to kind of play those games. A good money gate for them. This will be a good money gate for Cuthbertson because it's at Cuthbertson. But I think this will be a good football game. Both teams playing well in week one. Really good offensive execution for Cuthbertson. Keenan Jackson, I think, is going to be a big key in this one. RGK with a shutout last week against Providence. They're seeing a different type of offense against Cuthbertson this week. So it'll be interesting to see how they adjust and game plan for that. All right. So let's see. Joe Hughes talking about Burns and Crest. Mooney was 23-25, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Taylor had career high for yards and touchdowns as well. So good stuff. Good stuff. We talked about Mooney on the Pet Man's players, and then Tater, I think he had like almost 300 yards and I think it was 4 or 5 touchdowns against Freedom. So new offense is obviously going over well at Crest. It's good stuff. Glad to see it. All right. So now it's that time to review our week 1 predictions.
Next slide. Next slide.
So I was able to call Barry against East Mech. We all got Crest and Freedom correct. We got Davie County at Mooresville correct. You guys got Marvin Ridge at Monroe correct. I did not, but I did call Mount Tabor over Richmond County, and then we all got the bonus game wrong. So that leaves us with me at 4-2 and everybody else at 3-3. All right.
Not a losing record. I'll go with it.
Low expectations. All right.
No. Moderate expectations.
Moderate. Huh?
There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see what we got week 2. Here's what we got. Coming down the line, Country Day at Metrolina Christian Engine.
Let's go with MCA on that one. Metrolina.
All right, Big Shelby.
I say Country Day.
All right, Producer.
I'll go Metrolina Christian.
All right, I'm going to go with Country Day on that. East Mech at Hopewell Engine.
Pep, I'm going to stick with your first to last. I'm going with the higher seed, Hopewell.
All right, Big Shelby.
I go with Hopewell.
All right, Producer.
Let me get East Mech.
All right, I'm going to take Hopewell. TC Roberson at Ashbrook Engine.
Oh, Ashbrook.
All right, Big Shelby.
Ashbrook, easy.
Producer.
Ashbrook.
Clean sweep for Ashbrook. Let's go Green Wave. Burns at Crest. Injured.
I got a Webb on this one first.
I got to answer this. Do I really got to pick?
Yes.
I don't know who to pick, man.
I mean, that's a good game. You know
I don't
what?
know who to pick. Honestly, I really don't. That's what I really don't know who to pick, to be honest with you.
I'm going with the home team, Crest.
All right. Big Shelby.
I'm going to go with Burns in a close one.
Ooh.
All right. Producer.
It's tough. I'm going to go Burns.
All right. I'm going to take the home team as well with Crest. All right. Providence at South Mech. Injured.
South Point put up some points versus Catholic. Not sure if that was third quarter, fourth quarter, first quarter. Providence was shut out. Let's go with the Sabres.
All right. Big Shelby.
Joe Hughes, I could have used that 2 minutes ago, man.
What did he say?
Burns hasn't beaten Crest at Crest since 1998. That's the same year that I went up to Lawndale Burns and put the smackdown on the Burns Bulldogs in the playoffs, second round.
I'm going to say South Met.
South Mech. All right. Producer.
South Mech.
I'm going to take Providence. And then finally, our buddy, Coach Trotter at Pine Lake, going on the road to take on Thomas Jefferson.
What kind of bonus game is
I'm
Hey,
gonna
come
go
on,
with,
man.
I'm going with my guy.
I'm talking
Pine Lake.
bonus game, man. Pine Lake, Big Shelby.
I go Pine Lake. Them bonus
All
games.
right, producer.
I know more about Pine Lake, so I'm going Pine Lake.
Clean sweep for Pine Lake. All right. And then to Joe Hughes' comment right there, Engine, you took Crest. Me and you took Crest.
Well, you want to know?
And that's what I'm saying. Burns hasn't beaten Crest at Crest since 1998.
You're saying they're due.
Don't worry about that, Kenneth, because Kings Mountain has never beat Shelby at home until they beat us twice in the last 4 years at Shelby. So I don't think the records matter in our games.
And let me tell you, for the record, Burns had some awful, hideous away jerseys that year in 1998 as well. Awful.
Didn't they win oh, no, you say you beat them in playoffs.
We beat them
I can't remember the year they went to the state championship.
Never.
I'm not going to like you in Cleveland County chat administrator.
I pick Burns over
Not gonna go
Mooresville.
over well.
Burns over Mooresville any day.
Hey, ouch, man.
Any day, baby. Any day.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So real quick, let's go to the best of the comments. Where are we? There we go. All right.
I'm
Let's
looking
see
at
what we got
Joe's. I can't
here.
see Joe's this time.
All right. Well, Facebook user says Eastmeck over Hopewell, but who are you? If you're right, we can't give you credit, man.
That's Phillips.
You on here
He said
incognito.
that's Phillips.
That's Phillips. Burner. His burner.
Oh man. Incognito, yes, I hear you, man. We're talking about Huff and Mooresville. Chat administrator says we're not going to speak on how many Huff and in a row. Yeah, they've had the upper hand for sure. They have definitely had the upper hand. Let's see here. Terrence Losh, great show. Pep panel is top notch. These guys know balls. Salute. Oh man, I'm gonna have to pin that somewhere. See if I
Yeah,
can
put
start
that on
pinning
the intro.
Yeah, thank you, Terrence. I appreciate that. Very nice of you. All right, let's see here. We got most of the comments up during the show here. Oh, I missed this one. Webb got so mad last Friday he detached his faux beard. In the world?
God, dog.
I don't know what happened down there in Shelby last
Hey,
week.
Joe saying that he ain't want to tell y'all how our head coach slipped over his bell bottoms while he got an interview. He ain't want to tell y'all that part. Head coach almost left in the ambulance You slipping on them bell bottoms, Josie.
Oh man, quarterback Meech Hargrove said, "Stay tuned for Barry." Talented kid over there at Barry. Close one last week, man. Stay with it. Let's see. We got some new comments coming in, so let's check those out. We had most of those during the show this week. Let's see right here. We got some good ones coming in. All right, thank you for this update right here. Myers Park is now playing Catawba Ridge. Oh, okay, that'll be a good game. Catawba Ridge won 31-7 week 1, so that good matchup right there. Where is that game at? If you can let us know, Denise, I'll make sure we.
Why is it changing?
Who backed out on
Myers Park didn't have it. Say what?
Did they lose a game or did they not have a game at all?
Well, Myers Park didn't have a game this week. I think okay, so let's see. Myers Park versus Catawba Ridge instead of Charlotte Latin. So it looks like Latin it was gonna play Catawba Ridge, but now something changed there. So okay, it's at Catawba Ridge. Okay. Cool. Catawba Ridge is a beautiful place. You know, we went down there, producer. You remember that?
Oh yeah. Very nice.
Beautiful stadium. Very nice people down there too. Let's see. Kanye says the running back from Hopewell, number 21, is a dog. Chris Brown. Definitely a very good player. Let's see. Benji Moose. I'm watching the show with TD Moose. He said, "Thanks for the shout out, Coach."
There it is. I'll be there on Friday night with the
What a name, baby. What a name, baby. TD Moose.
I mean,
What a
T.
name.
Deegan just doesn't have the TD. That dude scores, punt returns, kickoff returns, rushes, catches the ball. He probably throws touchdowns too, man.
Yeah, he like Booby Miles. He can run and he can pass.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh,
What a
man.
name. TD
Carson
Moose.
might have that grass at about 6 inches to slow TD down on Friday night. That's what Joe Pinion used to do, man. He would mow that thing all fall. Bermuda grass tickling your kneecaps.
Chat administrator says Facebook user sounds like a deleted Big Shelby account.
I don't believe that.
Oh gosh. That's messed up, man. They coming at you.
Your name though. He didn't call you Medium Shelby this time.
Oh man. All right. Now that's the best of the oh, wait a minute. Gabby Bird is oh, hey, Miss Bird. Thanks for watching.
She revealed herself.
I don't know how you got incognito either, but
It
we're
counts.
glad to have you.
Either
Glad
way,
to
it
have
counts as a view. We'll take it.
you. Take some of the best pictures around, that's for sure. All right. So now that being said, it is that time. And oh boy, is it that time. It is time to slime with your favorite host.
You know, Pet Man, normally I like to wait a little bit to do mine, but I'm just going to go ahead and get my slime out of the way, and it may make a couple of people upset. And you know what? I'm a big boy. I can handle that. But today, the President of the United States of America decided that he was going to forgive student debts up to $10,000 for people who individually make $124,999 or less, and families who collectively make $249,999 or less. What are we talking about here? In what world does a family who makes $249,000 a year need to have $10,000 in student debt forgiven? Now, I don't have to put out there how much I make, but you can look it up. I'm in my 20th year of teaching. I have been in a pay freeze now for 5 years. It takes me a long time to get to that $250,000 mark. what we are doing in the middle of the worst inflation in the history of our country. We are putting our country further in debt by printing more money, thereby increasing the levels of our inflation. I can't even with this dude. I think that somebody woke him up and told him to sign a piece of paper, and he did it. It's unbelievable, but I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to get too political on the show, Pep. But Joe Biden, you slime, big dog. And that slime is so heavy and you're so old, you probably couldn't even stand up with it on you. But that being said, producer, who are you sliming on tonight?
I'm going to slime all of the people who like to be weird in the gym. There's always that person, man, that, wants to run 40-yard dashes in the middle of the floor. There's always that person that wants to do jumping jacks in the walkway. There's that person that wants to do, weird exercises on the equipment. There's the guy that wants to carry plates around and leave them on the treadmill because he wants to walk with plates in his hand. There's always someone weird, man. They just get in the way. Stop being weird in the gym, man. Just use the stuff like you're supposed to. I'm sliming all the gym weirdos.
Boy, producer Brandon, you are spitting it tonight. Now, I ain't even try to. He might be a great dude and he's strong as anything, but there's a dude at my gym who in between sets, he watches anime. He'll do a set and then he watches anime for probably until the next commercial break. And then he does another set. It takes him no less than 3 hours to complete a set on the bench press or the back squat weights on the treadmill. I love it. Pep, who are you sliming tonight?
Hey, that's an all-timer right there, producer. I'm going to cut that one up for you. That's a good job.
It is good.
But I'm going to slime these dang on political texts. I don't understand. Number one, I get them on my work phone. No one has my work number. So I don't know how in the world people are sending me these texts on my work number all the time. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. If I get one more politician sending me a text asking for a donation for their cause, I am literally going to throw my phone in what's the Cottle Creek. I'm going to go to Cottle Creek and throw my phone in there because this is getting insane, man. It's like, and we all have to pick a side, Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever. But the funny thing is, I get texts from both Democrats and Republicans. And it's just like, okay, obviously you don't care what I'm affiliated with. You just want money. And it is very annoying. I don't know how you get my number. And, I've got to slime that because we got to do something, man. I know y'all get them too. It is absolutely ridiculous. Good gracious.
I'm with you, Pep. God, dog. And it's only August. We still have 3 more months until the stinking elections.
Yeah, man. We got a couple other slimes that we want to share here from the crowd. So I was talking with Chat Administrator earlier today. He gave me this slime in the morning. He was really eager. Let me go back to it right here.
Wow, morning.
He wants to slime all the 20 different app schools use to sell tickets for games. Can we just pick one and use it statewide?
Or just let somebody pay with a $20 bill when they get to the game on Friday night. Can we do that? Can we just let us pay with cash? Oh.
Yeah, it's a novel
crazy idea.
That we can kind of get back to that. Let's see right here. We got one. Westopedia making an appearance. All right.
Ooh.
That's good to see you, Jim. He says he'd like to slime the 87 people who keep calling me up about wanting me to sell a property in Florida that I don't even own. That's another one. The damn property calls, man. Good gracious. I'll tell y'all this. So at my job, I'm responsible for the company phones. So I was working on a phone today, and as soon as I turn it on, it starts ringing. It's a whole new phone number, new phone. And, the employee sitting beside me is like, do I answer it? So I said, I'll answer it. And there was a guy asking me, do I want to sell property? A brand new phone line. I'm like, no. Like, you're calling a work phone here. And they were like, well, do you have any friends?
I say, sure.
No,
Wire the money to this account right here. I'll sell it.
It's absolutely crazy. And then Nikisha, hold on, Karen. We're going to come to that. Nikisha Rips slime the people about home warranty and solar panels. Oh, good gracious. They come door to door. They come door to door with these solar panels. And then there was another guy, and this is a good one. A couple weeks ago, a guy comes to the door, and I think it was a Wednesday night. I was getting ready for the show. And he's trying to sell me an alarm system. I have a CPI sign in the front of the yard. I already have an alarm system. And he's like, well, if you switch to this company, you can get this, this, and this. Can I come inside and take a look at your house? I said, absolutely not. No, you can't come in here. I'm busy. Can you give me a business card? Well, if you do this, blah, blah, blah. I said, can I just get a business card? I'll follow up with you. And I was being legit. I would have. He was like, well, we don't have business cards. I said, how are you out here selling stuff without a business card, dude? And we have a Facebook group for the neighborhood, and everyone's complaining about this guy walking around wanting to go in people's houses. I'm like, dude, what do you think you are?
You
I
might
don't
be
want you in my house.
Might be casing the joint, man.
Exactly. I don't trust nobody. Crazy self. All right, then Karen Belk right here. Extended car warranties. Oh, good gracious. How many times you get a dang on phone call? And it's always when you're expecting the call, too. You get a dang on phone call. Oh, yes, please. We're trying to reach you about your car warranty. Oh!
Does anyone ever actually buy the car warranty? Like who's keeping them around? I never see them successfully sell one. So how are they staying around?
Grandma.
Yeah, that could be it.
I don't know. That's crazy. But yeah, a lot of good slimes tonight, man. It's getting crazy out here. Let's see. From Woody Hayes. I like to slide the person who placed the forward lateral in the whoop. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Terrence Lodge coming in with a slime. I would like to slime Alabama University for letting Nick Saban put a clause in his contract that he always has to be the highest paid college coach. Hashtag old geezer. Oh, man.
Champ.
I don't know if Nick Saban's going to like that. All right. We'll finish with one more from Nikisha. I respect the Red Cross, but please stop calling me back to back. I am a...
Man.
Well, that's a good way to end slime time. All right. So, Kenneth, you said you're going to be at Mount Pleasant?
At Carson, yep.
Okay, Mount Pleasant at Carson. All right. So, we'll be at Hickory Ridge as they take on Charlotte Catholic. And our partner, Sumter Productions, who did a great job with the Ashbrook Concord highlight video, he's going to be at Northwest Cabarrus as they host Cox Mill for the Cottle Creek Cup. So, hey, we got Cabarrus County covered this week. So, if you see us, say hello. With that being said, I'm Petman Matt Morrow for the engine, Kevin Clamrock, and the producer, Brandon Black. Good night, everybody. We'll see you on CFI After Dark, Friday night, 11:45. Things get weird. Come join us.
Nah, man.